Well, our correspondent Yemi Kosoko, who is in Jos, has been tracking the security situation there in the country. We go live to him now as he speaks to the chairman, parley with stakeholders on the crisis in Jos.
Good evening. The Plateau State House of Assembly set up a committee to discuss the key players in the Jos Crisis. And of course, we have the chairman of the committee, who has been a former speaker and also a member of the House of Assembly. What are the terms of this committee, and how far have you gone in parley with the key actors on the Jos Crisis?
Well, I think for the records, we are meeting with what a group of people we call stakeholders, not key players, so to speak, because the terms of reference, the mandate of the committee principally is to interface with these various stakeholders on the plateau with a view to having their inputs, which of course the aggregate of which will now form the report that we are expected to present to the House of Assembly. Eventually that will metamorphose into a resolution, which of course the House will present to the executive arm of government to for implementation. So I think basically that is the term, that is the mandate of the committee, as it were.
Now, when we're talking about the implementation of some of the recommendations, the agitation has been implementation of recommendations of previous commissions of inquiry. What role can the legislature play to complement the executive in making sure that these recommendations are fully implemented?
Well, I think first and foremost, in terms of implementing the recommendations, first let's have the recommendations released, or the white paper of those commissions released. Then you have a government in place that has the willpower. And I can assure you that as far as this present government is concerned, it has the willpower to implement the reports of these committees. And of course, again, last week when Mr. President directed the CDS to take over the security of Jos here, they also had him direct the Secretary to Government of the Federation to dust the various committee reports with a view to reviewing them and eventually releasing them for implementation. So I think what the legislature, particularly the Plateau State legislature, will have to do is, of course, give the executive the moral and legislative backing so that it can be in a position to implement these reports. Because, of course, there are also reports that localized here of commissions that were set on the plateau here. If those reports will be released, then of course the legislature, whatever requires the legislature, then will give the support. One of such, of course, is the Plateau Peace Conference report, which of course requires legislative backing, and not for the reason that some people were contesting that report in court, else the legislature on the plateau would have passed that bill a long time ago, and government is willing and ready to implement the recommendations of that report.
On the part of the legislature in the states, the issue of certain bills, the Okada riders, the public nuisance and things like that, what steps are being taken?
Yeah, you know, if you've been following events on the plateau, the bill has been passed by the House over a year ago. And of course, as a responsive House of Assembly, and of course, government too, we had advised that we have alternative means of transportation, and of course, government has provided that. And again, the Operation Rainbow, which is of course supposed to enforce that. Because if you look at the Operation Rainbow document, it's a complete package. So I think we are still in the process of that, and at the right time, and very soon too, I'm sure the enforcement of that law will come into play.
Well, I've been speaking with Honorable Stephen Mansa, former Speaker and member of the Assembly.